So I also don't know whether or not you've seen this week, but the F1 23 game is due to. Oh God, when is it supposed to come out? It's like not next week, the week after, right?
Is it that close?
Yeah, it's not that far away. But essentially, all of the driver ratings came out. Do you know any of them off the top of your head?
Off the top of my head, no. I think Sergio's 89 and Max is 91, but I know they did the video where they were guessing each other's statistics and
Yeah.
overall rating.
So the game actually comes out on June 16th.
Oh,
So
like
it's
3
not,
days.
It's literally this week. I didn't know it was out this week. I thought it was next week, maybe even the week after. But I know we both bought the previous one.
Yeah.
And it was rubbish.
Yeah, it was fun for a while
Yeah.
because it was new and we had our steering wheels, and then we just never went back to it.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a shame, but apparently this one has fixed a lot of problems that the previous one had.
Well, if they can remove some like auto spin curbs
That's
really have you like control the car, I know it's not going to be to a level of a proper simulation race, but it didn't feel you could actually control the car.
Yeah, so apparently they've sorted out like mechanical grip and stuff like that, and they've made changes to make it more realistic. So I mean, I'm not going to buy it day of release. I'm going to wait a week or two and see what the reviews come out are like for it, and then just go from there really. And then I guess we can chat about whether or not we want to bother buying it together / playing it, I guess. I'll be honest, I'm probably going to get it anyway. Like, as long as it's not complete rubbish, I will probably end up getting it anyway. But so the driver ratings came out, and I thought it would be fun for considering that you have no idea what the ratings are, for you to guess the ratings. Okay. So
I know Max. Well, I might know. I don't. Max and Sergio, I think I know.
So what did you say Sergio was?
89?
Yeah, right. So that one's correct. And then Max's, you said, was
91?
Wrong.
Wrong.
So you got one right. I will let you guess Max's again.
All right. So let's do it team by team. So Max, I would have gone 91.
So yeah. So you've got Max would have been 91, and you're saying Sergio, you would have given him 89.
Yeah.
Max is 94.
Okay. Right.
Apparently.
Okay.
There we
go. Who are the next two drivers?
So I'm going to say Alpine. What do we think the Alpine drivers are going to be?
Okay. Esteban, I'm going to go with 84.
Okay. 84 for Esteban.
Yeah, I'm going to go 82.
Okay, so you would say that Esteban is going to be higher anyway, like higher overall. You're sort of correct. Esteban is 86, and Pierre is 84.
All right.
And by the looks of things, the real difference in stats is racecraft. Apparently, Esteban has better racecraft.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd agree with that, to be completely honest. I mean, yeah, Esteban, yeah. Anyway, I'm going to pick another team at random. We're going to go Ferrari. What do you think Charles Leclerc's rating will be? Bearing in mind Sergio Perez is an 89.
If it's as a driver, I'm going to go 90 for Charles Leclerc.
Yep.
And then Carlos Sainz, I'm going to go with 87.
Okay, so you're one off for both. Carlos is an 88 and Charles is an 89.
Oh, wow. Charles didn't even make the 90s?
Yeah.
No,
I think
he's definitely in the 90s.
I think the back end of last year, I think, really affected him. And apparently his experience, I think, is probably, by the looks of things, his experience is what brought him down statistically.
Oh, yeah, because Carlos is more experienced than him, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I would argue, right? So I'll just reveal it. Lewis Hamilton's overall is 92. You're telling me that a 7, maybe even 8-time world champion, and I'm not even talking about the controversial one. I'm talking about China in the gravel. So you're potentially saying that a 7-time world champion isn't as good as Max Verstappen, who is currently a 2-time world champion.
Yeah,
I think that seems a bit off to me personally.
Unless they're just using the previous season as their baseline.
Can I make a very good point?
Well, the fact that you've said your own point is good. You're like, can I make a good point?
Yeah, can I make a
Okay.
very good
I
point?
think I think the point should be, if it's good or bad, should be debated.
No. This is a
by
very
what
good
you
point,
said.
and this is exactly why Max will
Okay.
be better than Lewis. Max is currently sponsored by EA.
Ah,
Mm,
okay. That
mm,
is a very good point.
mm.
Yes.
I wonder if they
So,
fudged the numbers a little.
so they've got to have the top boy, the top guy, the one on the front cover as the best.
Yeah, so experience, Max Verstappen 84, Lewis Hamilton 97. Right? That's a big difference, right? By the way, Fernando Alonso's experience is 99 because he's older than Formula 1 at this point. Racecraft, Max Verstappen's 97, Lewis Hamilton 94. Okay, that's
Oh no, I would swap. Oh,
I could kind of see maybe where you're going with
if
that.
it was the 2021 season, I'd swap it over.
Yeah, okay. Awareness, Max Verstappen 85, which seems a bit low. Lewis Hamilton 94. So,
Oh yeah, it's a bit low for Max, I think.
On already, Lewis has got 97, 94, 94, and Max has got 84, 97, 85, right? And then awareness, pace, Max is 95, Lewis is 90. And somehow Max Verstappen is 94 and Lewis is 92. I'm not particularly good at maths, but that doesn't maths for me.
I think they don't take an average.
It doesn't maths because on average,
it's not an average.
On average, I think very quick maths.
No, they don't use averages.
Yeah, I think Lewis would then be a 94 and a half, 95.
No, they don't use averages.
No, I'm just telling you, like, if it was on an average, and then I think Max would actually be like like 89, 90.
Yeah, no, they don't use averages.
No.
They just pretty much pick a number from thin air.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fugazi.
Yeah, it's just a bit strange. All right, so I'm gonna because let's be honest, we could be here for days talking about this. I'm gonna give you a random driver. I'll give you two more, and you'll just guess what that overall is. Oscar Piastri.
105.
Perfect. Correct answer. Those papaya glasses have very clearly been sent and didn't get damaged in the post.
79.
74.
74. Okay.
The closest to your prediction is Nico Hulkenberg. He's got 80.
What is Logan Sargent's? Because he would be the lowest, right?
Yes. So Logan is tied with Nick De Vries for the lowest rating. What would you think that would be? Bearing in mind that Oscar Piastri is 74.
72?
71.
71.
Yeah. Which is pretty interesting as well. Like, so
they're all rookies, aren't they? As well?
yeah, it's a rookie season for Oscar, Nick, and Logan. But it's very interesting that they've given Oscar 74 like 3 points up off of the other two. That's pretty interesting. But then again, he did win F2. So
maybe, and also he's probably in what would be perceived as a better car than
true. So he's got a little bit of a I mean, you say that. Anyway, and then obviously, like, because the game isn't fully out yet, the F2 roster haven't launched yet. But I imagine that my main man Vesti and Behrman are probably up there within the top 2 or 3, I'd imagine. But yeah, so those are the ratings. I think there are a couple of like debatable ones. Like I think Lando Norris is the same rating as Sergio Perez.
I'd probably rate Lando a little bit less than Sergio.
Yeah, I would probably put Lando a little bit lower. And the other one for me that was a little bit...
Is he sponsored by EA?
No, he's not.
He is, isn't he?
No,
I'm sure he is, isn't he?
I don't think he is.
But he does something because they gave him early access to the game. Wasn't he doing a?
I think they just do that purely because like they send influencers copies of the game and stuff, and they know that he streams and stuff.
He's an influencer.
Yeah, I don't think it would affect it that much. I genuinely think with Lando, so many people within the paddock rate Lando so highly. I think that's the thing. I think they see Lando as a potential future world champion. And I think probably the most viable one when you look outside of the top teams this year. So I think that's why.
Okay.
Plus his age as well.
Yeah.
So
I just thought they would give him because he can bring in that demographic, can't he?
yeah, I guess so. The one that surprised me is Lance Stroll, 84.
His experience must have popped that one up.
Alex Albon, 83.
I think they probably looked at experience.
Yeah, I personally, I just would have put Albon at the same level or higher than Stroll, personally. But that's just me. Yuki Tsunoda got an 83.
Yuki.
All right, cool. So that was the game ratings. Not that it matters, to be completely honest. Just to be completely honest. But do you know what does matter?
It's race week.
It is race week. Thank God we've had a little bit of a break. But in all honesty, like I kind of like the fact that I don't know if you knew this, right? But we've had a bit of a break, and we essentially had the Le Mans to fill that gap. I don't know if you knew, but the previous person who looked after Formula One, Bernie, he used to make sure that there was a race organised the same weekend as Le Mans, so that Formula One drivers couldn't take part in Le Mans.
Really?
Did you know that's as far as I'm aware, that is an actual thing, which is mad.
Yeah, it is. It's petty.
It's really petty. I'm kind of here for it, but it's a bit mad. I wasn't expecting to hear about that. I can't remember where I heard that, so I do apologise if it's completely out of left field. But I'm 99% sure that's true. But he used to make sure that there was a race weekend organised, but this year there wasn't. Which meant that we got to see like Charles Leclerc at Le Mans and stuff like that, but he would have obviously very quickly hopped on a flight to Canada, which is where we are this weekend. We haven't been to Canada and had like a decent race in a while, have we? I remember last year being quite boring.
Well, qualifying was exciting.
Yeah.
I think it was Max. Fernando was in P2. Was it Carlos maybe P3? But Max just kind of ran away with it.
No. Yeah, Carlos ended up P2, and then Hamilton was P3, and then George was P4. That was at the end of George Russell's P5 streak, I believe.
Right. The qualifying was a wet qualifying, so that's what mixed up the grid. But yeah, and then race day it was business as usual for Red Bull. But I have a feeling this is going to be the race that Red Bull don't win. Really?
What makes you say that?
I just think I don't know. I just have a feeling. I have a feeling for that, as Ayrton would say.
Okay.
I think I just think.
Do you think the Wall of Champions may take Verstappen?
No, I think his car will just fail.
You're thinking reliability. Okay. Yeah, well, to be fair, they haven't really ran into any reliability problems so far this year. So
yeah,
maybe.
I just think
who knows?
This could be the one. So yeah, I mean, I don't hope for it to happen. It would be nice, but I'm not sure who would win. Let's just say Sergio and Max are out. I'm not sure who would get the win. Do we think Mercedes?
Yeah, I'm thinking Mercedes. I'm thinking Mercedes.
Or do you think it was more suited for the aerodynamics of Catalonia? Do you reckon Aston, like Fernando's, like we're not going to be off the podium after Catalonia?
It frustrates me, but I think Mercedes are back in contention. I don't think they're pushing Red Bull in any way, shape, or form, but I think they're back at the top end of the field. They're done pissing around towards the back, and like I said, it's kind of annoying because but I think it's partly just me wanting those papaya tinted glasses on every single week, and it's not happening. But to me, I think Mercedes have. What was that?
Just let it go.
I will not let it go. They're the most successful team in Formula One history. But yeah, with Mercedes, I think that their upgrades and their changes to the car, I think the people back in the factory have been working tirelessly, and I think it's going to start paying off. Partly because Ferrari have fumbled the bag. I think that Ferrari have slowly but surely slipped down the field slowly since the beginning of, well, since the end of last season, really. End of last season, you even had other teams pushing them. Compared to this time last year, Carlos was second in Canada. Can you see Carlos finishing second this weekend? Absolutely
No.
not in a million years. So, like, going into the weekend, that is anyway. So it's just very odd that they've fallen off that much. But I mean, Mercedes seemingly have taken their place essentially.
I think I think the Red Bulls won't win this race, and I
Mhm.
think it is going to be a Mercedes versus Aston fight for the win and the podiums.
I would like to see a Mercedes Aston podium fight. That would be good. I would like to see a little bit of a repeat of 2011, where the whole race was just completely, absolutely mad because of red
the
flags
greatest
and
race
rain.
ever.
Yeah. So if you have never seen the 2011 Canadian Grand Prix, go and watch it. Just go and watch the
all
highlights.
5 hours of it. No, watch all 5 hours.
Yeah, watch for 5 hours. My God, no, watch the
That many-
highlights because nobody has time for that. Go and watch the highlights because it is absolutely mad. And there are things in there that you just completely don't expect, and all of a sudden, I won't ruin it because I will ruin it because it's slightly obvious. But of all of the things that you expect to happen, with all of the things that happens to him, you don't expect Jensen to win. You don't. You genuinely, you partly think that, especially during the last lap, it comes down to the last lap. You genuinely think that Vettel's got it.
You couldn't have written it.
No.
If it was a
no,
movie, you couldn't have written it.
No.
He had like a drive-through penalty, 5 pit stops, 2 punctures.
Yeah.
And having to overtake his way through, and then Vettel on the last lap, just that one mistake.
Yeah.
Slight onto the wet line, and
It is
he
the
was through.
epitome of never give up. If you ever want a
absolutely.
good example of never give up because you don't know what could happen, watch that Grand Prix, because that's the perfect example of just carry on, work hard, and hopefully something will pay off in the end, because that's exactly what happened. I would love a classic like that, but let's be honest, I think Canada only really has 1 or 2 classic, like very, very good races.
When it rains, it's one of the best tracks.
Yeah, when it rains, sure.
yeah.
But I would argue that most tracks get pretty good when it rains. So I don't know
That's true.
how much influence that would actually take. So I am just going to very quickly. It's Montreal, isn't it?
Montreal, yeah.
Montreal weather. I'm going to look at the weather for this weekend.
It's going to be bone dry, isn't it?
No. So currently, we are looking at Friday, scattered thunderstorms.
Oh.
Saturday, showers. Sunday, scattered showers. So that's currently what we're looking at. So I'm just going to double check. Bear with me. I'm going to double check Environment Canada and see what they say. So Environment Canada are saying 30% chance of showers on Saturday and 30% chance of showers on Sunday. So who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Yeah,
Fingers crossed.
fingers crossed. I'm also going to check BBC weather as well, and BBC weather it is looking like Sunday light rain showers and light winds, and then Saturday drizzle and light winds, and it doesn't look like the rain is going to give up until about 4 on Saturday local time. That is, so more than likely it will be a wet quali.
That's good.
I think if you had a wet quali and a wet race, it could make it quite interesting, and it could potentially bring in safety cars, and it could potentially neutralize Verstappen.
Well, Lewis is amazing at the track, whether it's wet or dry.
True.
And if it's wet, it'll definitely play into his hands a lot more.
But Fernando's also pretty good at this track.
And he's good in the wet.
And he's good in the wet. But Max is very good in the wet. I don't know
Yeah.
what's going to happen. Oh,
Lance Stroll is good in the wet.
Lance Stroll is also in an Aston Martin. So there's
Can you imagine
potential...
him? You know what? Whatever happens,
Mm.
I'd like to see Lance on the podium on his home race. I think that would just be that'd be nice.
Yeah, it is his home race.
He's in a car that can get on the podium.
Mm.
This is his chance. And I think if he does it, he turns the season around. I think that'll give him just a massive boost.
I think if Lance gets a podium, within the next 2 or 3 races, I think that it answers some of those questions as to how on earth he's still in that car. But I think that a podium is expected of him at some point this year.
Yep.
With that car. And that's what I said. I think I said this last week as well. I said that because Lance is now, or as soon as that Aston Martin wins a race, or could win a race, like providing nothing stupid happens. Like, let's say, for example, Fernando manages to win a race, but then like he gets a time penalty or whatever it is, or something controversial happens, like a safety car late on or whatever it is, and it should have won a race. That Aston Martin should have won a race. If Lance isn't even able to get it in the top 5, questions have to be asked of Lance and his ability, and why on earth he's still in that car. However, I do wish him all the best. I don't wish to see his downfall or anything like that. So, but I just wonder a little bit. However, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it happening. I would like to see Yuki back in the points. Yuki's pretty good in the rain, might I add.
Yeah. And he's Mr. Consistent.
He is. So I'd like to see Yuki pushing for points. That would be really, really nice. I wonder how low the McLarens will fall. And what else?
We don't have to talk about it. It's okay.
But you've got a McLaren on your background, so it's kind of hard to forget the highs of 2011. Yeah, I don't really have too much else, to be honest. I just hope that it's more interesting than the Siesta Grand Prix. That's my only hope.
It will
really.
be. It will be. There's multiple places for overtaking. There's hard braking zones.
Yeah.
It's tough on the cars. It's definitely going to be a lot more interesting than
Yeah,
Catalunya.
I really hope so. I think there's also there's the added danger of groundhogs on the racetrack as well. That and you've got marshals falling all over the track as well.
Yeah,
it's a pretty iconic moment too. There's always something. There's always some sort of drama. There's also Seb being overtaken.
So do you want to
Hamilton.
talk about 2019?
We can talk about 2019. We've been chatting about Canada for about 20 minutes. I'd say we've got some time to talk about 2019. Would you like to take it away and explain what on earth happened to our viewers / listeners?
Yes. It is the 2019 Canadian Grand Prix. Sebastian has been leading the Grand Prix and is expected to win it. He's been holding off Lewis for quite a few laps. This is where the contention and the controversy comes in. Going into turn 3, is it? Or was it turn 4?
I believe so.
Going into turn 3, Sebastian has a little bit of a lock-up, goes onto the grass, and comes back onto the racetrack. As he comes back onto the racetrack, he almost goes into Lewis Hamilton, who has to back off so they don't both crash. Because of that, Sebastian is given a 5-second time penalty. He wins the race, but because of the 5-second time penalty, Lewis then wins the race because he's within 5 seconds in P2.
Yeah.
This causes a lot of controversy because Sebastian believes that he should not have been given a penalty because he's like, where can I go? I was coming off the track onto the track. And it's been kind of skewed by Sebastian Vettel fans who...
Skewed?
who believe he should not have been given a penalty. But if you look at it objectively, he should have been given a penalty.
My issue is that I am a massive Sebastian Vettel fan.
Yeah.
And I already look at this through German-coloured sunglasses.
Red-coloured, rose-tinted. Because there's been Ferrari then, wasn't he?
Yeah, all right. Well, Tifosi-coloured glasses. And I think part of it is everyone likes an underdog, right?
No, you're reaching.
No.
You're reaching.
Let me explain. So what I'm saying is that everyone likes an underdog, and at that point, Hamilton had won how much? How many years in a row? So I have a feeling that part of it is thrown down. You look so fed up right now. Part of it, I think, is down to so many people just wanting that David versus Goliath story. They want to take Hamilton down essentially, because he's winning so much, and I do kind of get that. I think that had it been another driver in a different position, I don't think there would have been a penalty. However, because it was for the lead, I think it was justified for the penalty to have been given.
There is no justification. No, it was this driver, it's that driver. It's black and white. He locked up. He made a mistake because he was under pressure. He went onto the grass.
Yeah.
He came back off from the grass onto the track, lost control of the car a little bit because his tires had dirt on, which meant Lewis had to back out. Otherwise, they would have caused a crash. He returned in an unsafe manner. It's a time penalty. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with
None
you.
of this, oh, David versus Goliath.
I agree. I do agree with you. However, I'm doing it through gritted teeth because of my personal affiliation to my goat. Essentially, that's where I'm. Yeah, that's where I'm struggling a little bit.
No, and I think it made him look a little bit petulant when he swapped the 1 and the 2.
Yeah, swapping the 1 and the 2 was a bit childish, but at the same time, like, and we see it time and time again with drivers in the car. I think almost a little bit of like Red Bull Vettel came out then, like a little bit of that, like that arrogance, that like I am the best, I deserve this, deal with it type attitude, and I think that a lot of heated things get said within the car. Like you can hear driver radios. Yuki is a great example. Some of Yuki's driver radios
I totally
were horrific.
understand, and I give drivers a free pass with the adrenaline and everything to say, obviously not what they want, but I'm not going to take what they're saying literally.
There's a reason why the cool down room exists.
Yeah, but the swapping of the 1 and 2, I felt that was.
Didn't he get a fine for that?
I don't know.
I believe he got a fine for that. But I can't remember. I believe he did get a fine.
Actually, you're right.
I think he did, yeah. But it wasn't just him, it was Ferrari as a team as well. I think they got a fine as well.
Yeah.
Because they contested the appeal.
Oh, no, I can't. Sorry, yeah, I was saying they contested the penalty, but
Yeah.
I didn't see anything around if he got a fine for it, for swapping the 1 and 2.
So, okay, here's a question for you. Would you have given him a fine for swapping the 1 and 2?
No. I think it just added a little bit more spice to the race.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's just some signs. That's it. But
yeah,
should have swapped it.
Yeah, I think you're right. But like I said, I think it was partly not only frustration because of the fact that he'd lost the win type thing, but it's also, you are trying to take down the big one type thing. I think that just
I
made
think
it a bit
Lewis
more.
had done kind of like a max. He'd won the 4 or 5 of the previous 7 races. Or
I can double check for you.
I should have it here. So yeah, Canada was the 7th race, and pre that Lewis had won 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Valtteri had won 2. Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
So
4, 5,
I'm just.
so 7th race, yeah. And then he went on to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 more.
Yeah. So literally, like, there was a Mercedes winning car the entire season up until Canada. And so it was, let's be honest, also looking at the drivers and stuff like that, I think Charles threw away a pole in Bahrain. But like they weren't close to winning. And so this was like one of the only chances they had at winning. So I think there was extra beef put in there for sure.
Yeah.
So I can kind of understand it. Because I think looking at it, like Seb got a P3 in China and Azerbaijan that year. Charles got a P3 as well, but up until Canada, Seb got P2 in Monaco. I do apologize. So like you can see, maybe he thought that momentum's coming with me. Maybe I should have won that race type thing. So Yeah, it is what it is. But
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It is. But Canada race week, Lance Stroll on the podium. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
And what's going to happen? No, this is
Oh,
what's going to
God, here
happen,
we
right?
go.
It's going to be Lance Stroll on first. He goes off the track. He go- he rejoins in an unsafe manner, stopping Max from overtaking him. Gets a 5-second penalty. Max in the race. Lance swaps at 1 and 2. over.
Jesus. Do you know what would be interesting actually is that if we had like a similar situation to when Ocon was trying to unlap himself in the Brazilian
Brazil.
Grand Prix of, I believe that was also 2019. I believe. Was it 2019 or am I making that up? Brazilian Grand Prix. Max won apparently.
No, Max won it. It must have been 2018 then.
Must have been 2018 then, yeah.
Because it was the bigger cars there. Let's have a look. 2018 Brazil.
I'm just going to Google that real quick. Ocon.
Yeah, it is. It is a 2018 Brazilian Grand Prix.
Just as I finished, it is 2018. I've just seen the replay now. Just as I finished hitting enter, you managed to find it. But all right. So what we'll do then is we'll finish up with podium predictions. What are you thinking podium-wise for the Canadian Grand Prix?
I'm going to make my predictions excluding Red Bull because we always know they're just going to be 1, 2, or 3. So
okay.
Realistically,
so we're going.
Okay,
essentially, we're going with Formula 1.5, which is that Reddit that I talked about earlier.
Okay, we'll do a Formula 1 and then do like a Formula 1.5, which is minus Red Bull. So Formula 1, I'm actually just going to go Max, Sergio, and Lewis. Without the Red Bulls, I'm going to go Fernando, Lewis, Lance.
Okay, I'm going Fernando, Lewis, George.
Okay.
But I don't think Sergio has got the minerals still. So I'm still going Max to win. He'll just fly away with it. Fernando and then probably Lewis or maybe George, depending on.
I think because of the long straight, that Red Bull will just be ahead.
Yeah.
That's why I'm going for a 1-2 with them. But
yeah, fair enough.
We shall see.
With the Formula 1.5, we've spoken about this again briefly on the podcast, but what they do is they remove the top 3 teams, and then essentially they work out the points as if those top 3 teams wouldn't exist. So the constructors that they have as part of Formula 1.5 are Alpine, AlphaTauri, McLaren, Alfa Romeo, Williams, and Haas. So the top 3 teams are like removed. Top 3
There's
or 4
teams.
Top 4 teams.
So
sorry, I do
4 teams,
apologise. So currently, the world standings, you would have Gasly in first with 114 points, and then you'd have Ocon in second with 104 points, and then third would be Yuki Tsunoda with 78 points.
Ah, nice.
If those teams didn't exist, it's completely hypothetical, obviously, but. Yeah, there we have it.
I mean, it sounds better than the Continental Championship idea you
Hey, no, my Continental Championship is genius because it only affects sponsors. It doesn't affect anything else. It's completely useless unless you want to put bums in seats and put eyes on TV screens. It doesn't affect it. It doesn't mean anything.
Oh, God.
I think it's a great idea.
It's always fun contesting.
One thing I would like to mention as well is that I think I've said this to you before, is that we have an internal thing at work where we have to predict the top 10 for every Grand Prix.
Yeah.
I've done something a little bit different. So what I have done is, because you have to predict the top 10, and then if you get the position right, you get full points for the position, and then you're allowed to have it one off that position to still get points for your top 10 predictions. So for example, if I were to say that Max Verstappen was first and he actually finishes second, I still get some points. If he finishes third, I get no points, no nothing, right? So like it gives you a little bit of leeway type thing. So what I've done is I've created a spreadsheet, and within that spreadsheet, what I've managed to do is I've put in all of the drivers, all of their finishing positions for the entirety of the season, and then worked out how often they finish a race and how often they finish in the points. Because then I can pick my top 10 based on statistical analysis and also get the average position. Meaning that hopefully, I've only just started doing this, right?
Can I just slightly interrupt you?
Yeah.
Is there a prize? Is there a prize?
There is money on the line.
Okay, now I understand why you've gone really in depth.
There's money on the line, right? And it's not that much money. I think it's like the equivalent of like 50 quid. We all put like 3 quid into a pot at the beginning of the season, and it's like whoever comes up. I think it's the top 5 people, right? Top 5 people actually win some money. I think like first is like 50% of the whole prize pot. Second is like 30. Second is like 10, and the third at 4 or whatever it is. It's like broken down. Yeah. Anyway, I can't do maths. But last year,
Mr. Statistical Analysis with his spreadsheets can't do maths.
Last year, well, I can do the maths on the spreadsheet because a computer does it for me. But last year, I was top 5, right? And then I thought, in order to really do well, I'm going to have to make some bold predictions for Abu Dhabi. And they went completely against me, and I ended up 6th. So I could have won some money had I not messed with it. But now I am sticking with statistical analysis. So I have, like I said, I have the average finishing position, the whether or not they end up in the points.
Can you do your top 10? Can I guess your top 10 for?
I can't do it because I'm not on my work computer. So I don't actually know what I put my top 10 as, but I can go on my work phone very quickly.
So let me guess this, and then we will wrap up the podcast, because we say this every single time. Oh, we haven't got that much to talk about, and 4 hours later, we actually have analysis into the top 10 of the Canadian Grand Prix.
I mean, we always find something.
Bring it up.
About.
I like this. It's been an episode of where you've got me to guess.
I found the tab. Okay. So I'm just gonna let it load. So
I'm gonna go bottom up, right?
So just for a bit of like, you know, info. I'm currently 10th position. Right.
Okay. Out of how many people?
Hold on, I'm just trying to work that out because it does take a while to load. It's an internally built website. So it's done by points. The person top has 1,480 points. I am 10th with 1,377. So I'm within 100 points, right?
Okay. And, that can change in like 2 or 3 races.
Yeah, so I in Miami I scored 200 and something points. So within a week it can change, right? And so there are currently 85 people, and the person bottom has 616 points. So I'm not doing too bad. I think I would argue top 10 is pretty good. All right. So you want to guess what my top 10 prediction is, yes. And we'll see how close you are.
I'm missing one person.
Oh, you're writing it down. Okay.
Right. I'm going to go Tsunoda in 10th.
Wrong.
Albon.
Wrong.
Okay.
Why would I have... So this is
because Tsunoda usually finishes P10 or P11.
Right. However, statistically, he's only in the points 29% of the time, so why would I bother?
All right,
he finishes 100% of his races, right? But he only ever finishes in the points 29% of the time, mate.
Okay. P1 Max, right?
Right, yeah, P1 Max, right. We'll get the easy one out of the way.
P2 Sergio.
Yep, P2 Sergio, yep.
P3 Fernando.
Yep, P3 Fernando, yep.
P4 Lewis.
P4 Lewis, yep.
P5 George.
Yep.
P6 Ocon.
Nope.
Gasly.
Nope.
Stroll.
Nope.
Oh shit! I've forgotten one entire team. Charles Leclerc.
Nope.
Sainz.
Yep.
Sainz
P6. Yep.
Then Leclerc P7.
Leclerc P7. Yep.
Ocon in 8th.
Nope. You love Ocon.
Ocon. Gasly.
Nope.
Stroll.
Yeah.
This is Stroll, and then Ocon.
Nope.
Gasly
P9.
And then Ocon.
Yeah, and then Ocon P10.
I got the top 5.
I'm pretty sure you said Ocon for every position other than first. I'm also pretty sure you said Ocon P10 and then went right. Okay, we'll go back to the top and then guessed Ocon for half of the rest of the guesses. But essentially the reason why I've put it like that. So Stroll, his average finishing position is 7th, and that's very consistent. So that's the reason why he's.
I think I've got recency bias with Monaco.
Yeah, I guess so. But so Stroll finishes finishes the race 71% of the time, and he finishes in the points 57% of the time statistically, meaning that there's a reasonably good chance he'll be in and around the points. So, and then you would compare it to someone like Charles Leclerc, who has exactly the same statistics. Average finishing position for Charles Leclerc is 6.8. Stroll's is 7. So that's why they are slap bang next to each other.
You know what you've made this? You've made this like Americanized, where they've got all the stats.
Yeah, I've slightly Americanized it, haven't I? But when you look at Sainz, 100% finishing record, 86% chance of being in the points. That's pretty good.
That is good.
Right. I would also I'd like to make it slightly more complicated and also have like a form table. So like drivers that are in form. So you would compare their previous 3 races or their last 3 races to the entirety of the season. So you can see whether or not a driver's hot or not right now. So it gives you a little bit of like, I'm so lost in this, aren't I? This is for £50 and I'm going that in depth into it. What's wrong with me? But I mean, it's interesting to me.
Do you know what it's going to be like? Have you seen like the Hangover scene where he's got all the maths going through and he's working out all the blackjack odds?
Yeah.
That's going to be you. You're just going to be like this, going down the escalator at Lego.
Just like, and then if the Sainz finishes third, then that would mean 25 points if you want. Yeah, that would literally be me. I thought you were going to say the scene from, I think it's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's like screaming at the map with all of like the red lines behind him. Yeah, no, I like I said, I put a bit of statistical analysis into it. So it means that, for example, De Vries and Sargent are nowhere near my top 10 anywhere. So like De Vries he finishes 71% of the races, which is pretty good. Logan Sargent again finishes 86% of the races, 0 points. Average finishing position for De Vries is 14th, 0.4, and Sargent's is 17th, nowhere near it. But then if you look at the average finishing positions, only 11 drivers are within the top 10 finishing positions.
If you're still listening to us, viewers, listeners, we're going to donate the money that Jacob wins.
We are absolutely not. We are that money is having to listen into a pot.
To this statistical analysis.
One thing I would like to close out the podcast with, because I think it's actually very nice. So I was listening to the Formula for Success podcast that they released a couple of days ago with David Coulthard and Eddie Jordan. If you haven't heard of it or listened to it, do go and give it a listen. I don't care. I'm more than happy to recommend other podcasts because you've made it this far in this one anyway. So we've already got the listen, so do whatever you want.
I'm literally going to add it to my Spotify.
Please do, because like Eddie Jordan is such a character, it's insane. And he does have very, very good chemistry with David Coulthard. And they were asked a question, which was if you could only ever visit one GP for like ever again, other than Silverstone, because I think they would both pick Silverstone, right? What Grand Prix would you pick?
Spa.
They both said Budapest.
Really?
They both said Budapest.
Wow.
So I'm thinking, if you want to, next year we look at Budapest. Because I'm already going to a race this year. So I don't need to
actually.
Go to
I would like to go to Budapest.
I've never been, so I think we should do that next year. I think we should go Budapest.
Can we drive to Hungary? Is it drivable?
Yeah, we could drive that. Yeah. I don't want to, but I'd rather just get a flight. But we can drive it if you want to drive it.
We'll see what the car situation is like next year.
Yeah, because you're obviously thinking about a new car. So for me, from Denmark,
it's just past Austria. So
yeah.
So
going to Budapest. So it would take me a direct drive 14 hours 55 minutes, and that is
easy.
1,432 kilometers. So it's quite far, but I would argue it's probably about the same distance as
It would
we
take
did
me
before.
20 hours.
Yeah, it would take you a bit longer from just outside London. But for me, it's probably about the same distance that we did, because essentially last year when we went to Austria, I had to drive from Denmark, and then we met up in Cologne, which is like the west part of Germany. Whereas for this trip, I would go through the east part of Germany. So it probably is around about the same sort of distance for me.
Ooh.
It's doable, to be completely honest. I'd have to go straight through Prague, like through the center of Prague. That's the route it's asking me to take.
Really?
That's mad.
It's 1,120 miles.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Obviously, but that includes crossing over on the
ferry, or the Eurotunnel, depending on what you want to get. Eurotunnel, right? You don't want to do ferry.
Nah, Eurotunnel. So much easier.
Yeah, exactly. But it would take me through Germany, the Czech Republic or Czechia, and then Slovakia and Hungary.
Yeah, I'd go through. I've just closed it now, but mine would be.
So you'd go
mine would be through Austria.
Yeah, through Austria, and then I guess technically you could go through Switzerland, but it'd probably be quicker to go down through Munich, right?
So I would go through a little bit of France, through Belgium, actually up to Cologne.
Yeah.
Down through to Frankfurt, through Austria, past Vienna, into Hungary.
Yeah. See, I genuinely think that we could flip that on its head, right? And I think that you drive through France and you go from Monaco through Italy, then up towards Budapest.
Dude, that's gonna add days onto the trip.
The vibes. You've got to remember the vibes.
Yeah, the vibes wouldn't be very good if I'm exhausted.
I mean, I guess
but it adds around 8 hours to the journey.
If I wanted to go via Monaco, right?
Oh my god.
If I wanted to go via Monaco, it would go from 15 hours up to 33 hours.
And with that, thank you for listening to the podcast.
Yep.
If you're still here, we will make a donation in your name to a charity.
We absolutely won't.
Jacob's about to win his competition. We're going to donate that money to charity.
If I tell you what, if I win, I will split the winnings between myself and the dementia charity that Sir Jackie Stewart supports.
Cool.
There we go. I'll do that. I probably won't win anything, so there we go.
I'll tell you what, if you do it, I'll match whatever you win.
Great. There we go.
I'll submit it as well.
Sure. We'll do that. But all right. Thank you very much for listening. You know what? Why don't you take it away?
No, genuinely, thank you very much for listening. We know we've killed you.
We've done like 20 minutes of traffic chat, haven't we? What is wrong with us?
Genuinely, thank you so much for listening. It means a lot. Wherever you listen to or watch the podcast, please subscribe and like. We get little hits of dopamine when we see that number go up by 1. And then we lose it when it goes down by 1.
Yeah, it's really annoying. So stick around.
Thank you so much for listening. And we will be back next week. We'll be discussing all things Canada.
We'll be discussing that Lance Stroll win, won't we?
We will be, yes.
Awesome. Cheers, guys.
At his championship title charge. Thank you very much.